Hey guys, Table here. Today we got to look at the Akizuki Tier 7 Japanese gunboat. I think I got the Yukikaze in this game, so I put the screenshot there. It's possible I had Krita, who's traditionally who I'd had in this ship. Both builds quite similar. We had the Torp in slot 1, the Concealment slot 2, Twist and Track slot 3, and then slot 4 is where the difference lies, really. But nevertheless, you can have success with either build. Okay, Game Haven, Capture the Base mode. We're going to be talking about destroyer positioning early on, at least to start with. That's kind of the main problem we're seeing out there with the destroyer play lately. Destroyers on your team look around, they're all dead 3 minutes in the game. Oof. Well, we can't win that game. Of course, it happens to everyone. Not even if you know what you're doing as a destroyer player, occasionally you're going to die. You'll get countered with a good play by someone on the enemy team. Whatever, it's inevitable. But if you're constantly dying early as a destroyer, that's a red flag. You got to be able to value your own play. And even if you're saying to yourself, well, every game I'm torping the battleship, sure, I'm dying, but I'm at least hitting them a lot of the times. That's not good. You're not trying to trade destroyers for anything. Destroyers, especially in domination mode game, are key components to your team's success. So try and stay alive as best you can. Doesn't mean play in the back, don't do anything. But be very careful. And that it comes with experience. It's hard to do, but that's why we're going to be talking about it here. First consideration, we do have a carrier, okay? So we got to be very careful of that. If he hovers over us and spots us, we got to be very careful. We want to make sure he's not going to do that for a prolonged period. If he's a good carrier player and he's like, okay, I'm going to hover over this destroyer player until my team shoots him, then your response needs to be go back. In that situation, you kind of have to go back amongst your team. Yeah, they're going to be sitting in the back doing nothing. But you got to do that until the carrier decides, okay, he's clumped up with his buddies. I can't get to him, so it's not worth my time. Wait till he starts doing something else, and then go back to trying to spot or whatever else you're trying to do. Counter the destroyers, capture the bases. But here, we haven't had problems with the planes yet. So now the consideration in most situations that don't involve carriers is who's got the better support, right? Now, I'm very far forward. I'm in the middle of the board here 2 minutes into the game. Not even, 2.5 minutes, whatever it is. A very aggressive position, but I'm watching all these ships gradually on the red team. They're going to the sides, which is fine, but none of them have lines of sight of me. Helena finally does, and then there's a cruiser in the smoke over there directly to the north of us. You can see him on the map. Wasn't sure what the cruiser was at the time, but I'm like, okay, well, they got some support, and they got better support here than we would, but it's not great. And what are we talking about? We're talking about in the likely scenario where the destroyers are going to spot us, as right now. Okay, I'm going to shoot at him. He's hopefully going to shoot at me, or if he doesn't, if he's not playing to win, he'll probably just try and line up a torp shot. But he's lining up shots here. He's shooting with the guns, and he's got an Atago to the north, and he's got a Helena near us. So there's the shots from the Atago. That prompts an immediate popping of the smoke. That may mean the Kagero gets away. But at that point in time, we're under severe threat. Note there is no shots coming from my team towards him. Nobody on my team is aware of this guy, or if they do, they think they're too far away, they can't hit him. Luckily, we were able to take him out in the smoke. Okay, but that's the consideration. Check the map, check your team's deployments. Am I closer to my team's support ships than where I think the enemy destroyer is going to be when he pops up? If yes, you're a little bit too far forward, maybe hold back a little bit and reposition. Okay, but keep an eye on that, because these, in a 1v1 destroyer fight, you want to practice those. You want to get good at that. You want to be winning those consistently, which is usually easy to do because most destroyer players won't shoot back at you. They'll line up a torp strike for 20 seconds, miss because you turn the opposite way once you figure out that they're launching, and then you kill them with the guns. Those are easy, okay, but not when we got multiple cruisers on one team, multiple battleships, whatever it is, even multiple destroyers shooting the one guy, and your teammates, they're in the back, they're looking through the Hubble telescope in orbit, saying what's going on down there on Earth. You're going to lose those, okay? So be very careful. And once again, the carrier could have definitely completely changed this game. Like, we would not be hanging out in the middle of the board close to these guys, but for the fact that he's doing something else, presumably torping guys in the back. So maybe he's hunting the other destroyer, I don't know. Anyway, we're trying to send some torps off here. We got this battleship that kind of got turned around by our team. I think it's a Lion coming around. Now we got some spotting on the Helena here. We're in the smoke for a couple seconds. Might as well start using these guns. And Akizuki whether you're playing it or whether you're playing against it, you need to know this thing is capable of extremely high damage outputs with the guns. Okay, in fact, it's probably, I haven't checked the DPM numbers lately, but it's definitely among the best at tier 7 with the guns. So respect it. Torpedoes, you only have one launcher. You do have two, depending on the build at least. You have access to torpedo reloads. Okay, now here we hit the Lion with 3 torps, and we're keeping an eye on the damage in the corner there. It's still continuing to tick. That means the flood's active. If that stops, that means he uses damage control party right now. If he uses damage control, then we can go to the HE and try and burn him down. Looks like it's still ticking up to me though, so maybe he had a fire earlier or he's not putting it out, but nevertheless, we're taking a little bit of a risk. Look at the diagram on the bottom there. I'm pointed extremely steeply away from him, and that's one of the advantages of this ship is you get great firing angles on the guns, but that's to protect ourselves because we're going to be taking shots, yes, and we just traded about a quarter of our playmaking currency, aka ship's HP, to gun him down. Risky play. We do have support from the Helena once again, which we do need to take into account, and the Flyboy. He's now hovering over us. He's decided he wants to attack us, but because of the quickness of the guns, the quickness of the ability to damage, we're able to take that Lion out. So you can see the blue team off to a substantial lead here. Now we're up 4 ships. They only have 1 destroyer left. We got 2, but look at the ability of this thing to shoot down planes. Now, part of the Yukikaze build is it boosts the AA performance in the inspiration, I believe. But in general, the ship's already got pretty good AA to begin with. So if you're playing carrier, you need to recognize that, okay, yeah, I want to spot him. Yeah, I want to hover over him. But if the team's not responding, well, you might have some trouble because it's going to shoot down a lot of planes and you're not going to really be getting the gain necessary for it. We're pinging the base here because we are electing to go attack their base. This is always a risky play for a player who is aware of how to play the game because you're taking the one guy that you're guaranteeing is aware that of the importance of defending the home base in this game mode. You're putting him on the enemy cap, which you can't get back to defend your own base. So you're kind of relying on the team. Our base is surrounded by blue guys, yes, but really if they sink this cruiser that's to the northeast of them, the other guys are sailing away from the base. They're just following their dudes. I don't think they have any idea in terms of the possibility of getting the base at least pressured. And perhaps they do, perhaps not. But that's kind of the risk you take as someone who understands the game modes. Okay, if I'm going to put my ship on the cap, pressure it, or even potentially capture it, which will sometimes happen, but you know, we want to stop their scoring, increase our lead by getting on the cap, and force them to turn around. That's kind of the goals of getting on the cap. But if we do that, well, we're relying on the team. And there goes the Cleveland. He was really the last thing between that destroyer and whatever else is to the south of him, between him and our base. Now, we do have another cruiser, looks like it's going back to defend. Great job there. So now we're kind of committed to getting on the base here. Thinking he might beach, so I'm trying to aim towards the back. Never really hits the beach, though. But we do have a torp strike that we previously put down. And now that he's kind of been fiddling with his throttle knob a little bit, well, it looks like it actually might hit him. And he's attempted to turn off here. He does see the torps, but we will get him with 1. And might as well, once again, open up the guns. Planes attacking us. Okay, fine. But once again, high damage output. And you can see all the shots that you're able to put out with this thing. And you can rack up the damage. So you got to respect this thing. Especially if it's sitting in a smoke. It's kind of like the Friesland. You might be saying to yourself, it's just a little pesky destroyer. Shoot me with its pea shooters. Not the case. Akizuki, Friesland, ships like this, if you let them fire upon you unmolested for long periods of time, you're going to feel it. Okay, so Poe Beta spotted here. He's attempting to hit us with this wild salvo of torpedoes. Looks like he's got 6-7 shots. Luckily, we're able to fit through the gap there. And keep an eye on the outputs that we're going to be receiving here. Now we're getting pretty decent damage when he's broadside like this, but when he's gaining distance and getting further away from us and angling, we're hitting the deck. These we're going to start to see if you watch the things on the side there, the indicators, lots of shatters. You got to keep in mind that these are lower caliber guns, so we want to be targeting surfaces like superstructures on ships, whatever else. We can, keep an eye on the indicators. If you're not getting actual penetrations, actual damage, you're going to get that feedback, the sound that is the game plays that says, okay, you're hitting things, but that can be deceiving. If you're not seeing the numbers pop up, you're not seeing the icons on the right indicate full penetrations, or, you know, even over pens in some instances, you're not actually getting the damage. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're experimenting with AP. That's not really working. Okay, go back to the HE here in a moment. Try to at least get some fires going, because, you know, the carrier did damage control a little bit ago, and it will stay on fire if we happen to get it stuck again with the fire. But anyway, you know, hopefully that was a breakdown. Now, you do need, if you're watching this game saying, okay, this is how you position early, remember, this was an extremely aggressive position early with multiple risk factors. We were closer to the enemy support ships. The carrier, if he decides to go in the middle of the map and spots us, well, we might be, we would have been probably taking a lot of damage and maybe even getting sunk early. So, you know, very aggressive position, but I was keeping an eye on the situation, and that's why I was able to get away with it. So that's gonna do it for the look at the Akizuki for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.